Vanakkam, Namaskar, good morning to all of you. So, very happy New Year to all of you. So, आप सबका इस कार्यक्रम में स्वागत करते हुए मुझे बड़ी प्रसन्नता का अनुभव हो रहा है. Just I would like to switch over to English because many of our friends, actually Professor Eva is very much proficient in Hindi also. But let me speak in English, and she is proficient in so many languages. Honorable Vice Chancellor Professor Gurmeet Singh ji, and our today's chief guest Professor Eva D. Clerk, Professor Department of Oriental Languages and Culture, Ghent University, Belgium, and she is also our international PA of SPARC project on Apabhramsa. And today our Honorable Dean, School of Humanities, Professor Clement Sagai Raja Lood, and our University Library, Dr. M. Vijay Kumar, and Sanskrit Department Head, Professor Krishnan Sir, and Behraji, and our Didi Padma Priya ji, Department of Hindi, and Director of Distance Education, Dr. Gupta ji, and all colleagues. Good morning to all of you. Just for the information of our guest today, I want to briefly introduce our Honorable Vice Chancellor in few words. Our Vice Chancellor is a versatile genius like you, ma'am. You are a genius in many languages and cultures. That way, our Vice Chancellor also. And he is internationally reputed eminent scientist of corrosion science and smart material, and he held various administrative positions prior to taking over as Vice Chancellor of Pondicherry University. He held the positions of Professor, Proctor, Head of the Department, Member of the Executive Council, and numerous other administrative positions in University of Delhi, besides serving as OSD, Principal, Deshbandhu College. As an academician, he had served 4.5 decades at Delhi University. During 2011 and 12, Professor Singh served as a chair professor of Lungwa University, Taipei, where he was specially invited to start collaborative research. He was a visiting scientist to Hungary and Japan, and has been on academic assignments to Germany, Italy, Australia, Singapore, Korea, Thailand, and Kenya. He is also currently a visiting professor at Japan Advanced Institute of Science and Technology, Ishikawa, Japan. An inspiring teacher and mentor of research, Professor Singh has guided 14 MPhils and 50 PhD scholars. Several of the resulting contributions have received accolades and best paper awards at international and national conferences. At the time of moving to Pondicherry University, Professor Singh was personally supervising 9 major R&D projects worth over 7.5 crores. With about 150 research papers, of which a majority are in high-impact international journals, Professor Gurmeet Singh ji also among the most cited of the scientists in his field. The SPARC projects, only one Hindi department got in Indian universities, that is Pondicherry University. I have to give the credit to Professor Eva. Because of her specialization in Apabhramsa, we got this project. Otherwise, no other university in India got SPARC project for this purpose, for this particular language area. So, I would like to invite our Honorable Dean, Professor Clement, and Dr. M. Vijay Kumar, our university librarian, and all other friends. So for saving time, just 2 words about this international workshop cum faculty development program I want to say. This international workshop cum FDP concerns history and textual sources, philosophies, issues and challenges, methodology, traditional as well as modern tools and techniques of research to map the scientific structure of Hindi language in the light of Apabhramsa literature in general and Awadhi and Braj in particular. It will be a dedicated attempt in producing a scientific research output for developing linguistic theories of Hindi language by reclaiming past for tackling contemporary issues and challenges of Hindi and revisioning future of aforementioned language through manifested key takeaways of the workshop. So it will examine various methods of the research in Occidental dimension so that international standard level of articles and books can be produced by the particular scholars and faculty members. So once again I welcome all of you. So now I request our Dean School of Humanities to honor our Honorable Vice Chancellor with bouquet and a memento.
Good morning, friends. Vanakkam. As the tradition is, maybe it is the first year of the new year when we have all gathered, and the customary practice is that we all wish a very happy new year, though it should be treated as one of those normal days. You find that after a day's hard work, we relax in the night for 8 hours, 6 hours, and begin the day with a new day. And when we get up, we look at the sun, and we look at sun with a new hope, with new energy, with a new kind of a pledge every morning that, okay, today I'm going to do this, this, this. And that if you are able to achieve at the end of the day, we have a ample satisfaction that yes, our day was very well spent. So this is day after day, if you keep doing it, and if all days are very well spent, that's the way the cycle goes, and a new year comes. I don't know why there is so much of an excitement about New Year. So every year we get lots of greetings, especially on 31st and 1st, and your phones are blocked at times and choked, in fact. So I was wondering what to do, what kind of a greeting I should send to my friends. So I brought out a very innovative kind of a greeting after a fair bit of a thought. Here also when I entered, everybody said Happy New Year, and what I was saying is thank you, same to you. So I have sent a greeting in our group. I don't know whether, I was in a dilemma whether to send it to all my friends here in the university or not, because I will be very frank, everybody doesn't have that sense of humor or that sense of understanding. Some may take it differently. And so I refrained from sending that. I sent it to all my friends elsewhere, wherever I am connected with. All my college friends, university friends, wherever I was, I just said to all my friends, for the next 2-3 days, it is same to you. And I showed myself lying down, because ultimately 3-4 days you are going to just say this word, same to you, same to you. So I just sent that greeting, and people relished. So I thought after today's day is spent in the university, I'll send this greeting to all the groups that we have. And will wish that the new year brings more happiness, more prosperity, more sense of satisfaction. Ultimately, it is the sense of satisfaction which one throngs for. And if that is not there, then obviously one gets a very depressive feeling that, well, our time was not very well spent, whether it is a day, month, or year, or whatever way you take it. So I always tell, whatever we do, the endeavor should be that we must do it with utmost sense of dedication. If that is done, I think you will be no less than whatever person you can imagine, be it Einstein or be it Shakuntala Devi or Shri Aurobindo or whomsoever you may take it as an ideal, that you will find you would be able to achieve that sort of height. Anyway, that's about the new year. I wish all of you a very happy time, and happy time, a prosperous time, and a time which will give you at the end of the year immense sense of satisfaction that this is what I wanted to achieve and this is what we have been able to ultimately do it. That's the ultimate goal with which we work for. Coming down to today's seminar, wherever I go, people will say we'll speak in English because that's a language which is understood by most of us. Yes, it's a fact, it is understood by most of us. Why is it understood by most of us? Because other languages were neglected in the good old days. And people started thinking, they will all agree with me, people started thinking that English is knowledge, English is everything. So therefore we started forcing our kids, start learning, go to this school. Don't go to a school where Tamil is taught, where things are taught in Tamil medium, go to English school. This is a kind of a feeling which was developed, and gradually a thought got set in our minds that English is knowledge. Whenever I have got a chance, I keep telling everybody, English is one of the languages. And if you can learn as many languages as you can, it goes to your credit. And it is not difficult, let me tell you. Most of you who are sitting in this part of the country would understand 3-4 languages by not by design, by otherwise. It comes in the air. And most of us who were there in the upper part of our country, we also picked up 3-4 languages, Hindi, Punjabi, English, Urdu, and part of Bengali, mixed sort of languages. Then there are certain examples which are to be picked up by our youngsters who are sitting here. We have a person, a great poet associated with this land, Pondicherry, called Subramaniam Bharati. He lived a very short life, 39 years. He lived a life which was in fear, which was in tension, which was in kind of imprisoned one. His thoughts were not free. He could not move out and think. So he was in Chennai and then he rushed to here in Pondicherry because people said it is under French territory, you will be safer. So from 32 years, 22 years he crossed over. Why do we have a habit of fiddling with the system which is working very properly? When everything, I don't need mics. What are you trying to do? Switch it off. So he crossed over here and started working on his poems and writings, and the kind of writings he did, we all know. Immortal, absolutely worth remembering for all times to come. Great contribution. But many of you who would not know, he had a mastery of over 22 languages, including many foreign languages. He could speak, he could write, he could imagine, he could think in those languages, and that was the greatness of that person. Now he died at the age of 39. Such a young age and with so many languages one had learned, it is something we need to pick up. Then it is not only he, there are many others who had picked up number of languages. One of our own prime ministers, ex-prime minister, he knew about 14 languages, including 6 foreign languages. So learning a language is a blessing. Learning a language is augmenting your knowledge. One should not say that I am a Punjabi, therefore I'll read only this, nothing else. You should come out of these shackles and learn as much as you can. And I said, no language is a knowledge, let me tell you. Language is a step through which you can acquire knowledge. And it could be any language. If somebody says, I'm in a very remote part of the country and the dialect I speak, very few people would speak, even that language will give you a lot of things to learn. So idea of my telling all this is, for you, you should try to gain or gather as much as you can during your lifetime. And it will pay you rich dividends. Now a question is which language and why we talk about languages. Yes, your original thinking that comes to your mind, it is always in your spoken language, in your mother tongue, in your language which is spoken in and around. So if you speak and talk and write and think in that, the original thinking will come in that language. So that should never be neglected. Again, I will take you back. Some thinkers in our country said, no, English is the language. No, it's not. Language is what you are speaking, what your mother is speaking, what your parents are talking about, what your neighborhood people are talking about. If that is what you work in, you will find you will get original ideas, what to go, where to go, what to do. That kind of a development is what is needed. So far, this was neglected in our country, and now it has picked up, of course. The languages which we hear in and around, they are there. I know, English is inborn, we know about it. Other languages which are spoken in and around are inborn. If you can pick up more languages, it is always a great thing. Now coming to this, I am very delighted that Hindi department has picked up a seminar in this, where they have thought of how Hindi language was developed from a language which was spoken 300-400 years prior to when Hindi came into this. So this gradual development, research, how this was developed, and then obviously Sanskrit is older than that. Sanskrit is another neglected language. We never thought about it. We said, no, it's a very difficult language. Let me tell you, this is one of the most scientific languages you can think of. If somebody knows German and Sanskrit, you will find how scientifically they are linked. Both are treated as very difficult. But then, if somebody knows that, one would pick up all the languages very properly. And the pronunciation, if you can speak in that, you will find your pronunciation would improve to a great extent. This is a part which is absolutely neglected hitherto, and I am glad that Hindi department has picked up this. Of course, they have a project in this, and I was very delighted. I didn't know about it, that ours is the only Hindi department in the country which has got it. When SPARC projects were being written and they were to be applied, many people came to us, many colleagues of mine, sir, who is going to give us SPARC projects? It's an international collaborative project and somebody has to have some bit of a standing. I said, why, do you think you don't have standing? Do you think we don't have a name? Do you think our city doesn't have a name? We have all the advantages, and therefore all we need to do is put our thoughts together and write projects. About 9 projects were written. Some were getting dissuaded that, no, we'll not give it, sir, we will not get it. I said, it's not important whether you get it or not. What is important is that you apply for it. Participation is more important. Winning is not more important. So you apply, and 9 had applied, out of which 7 were successful. What a remarkable ratio it is. Had we not applied, had we listened to those fellows that we are not going to get it, probably none of the projects would have come through. So this 7 which has come now, and it's a team which is working on it. Team of Indians, team of foreigners. Collaborative work is being done, and if this goes to its logical conclusions, many more, those young minds who are working in these projects would get an idea, and with those newer ideas, we'll be able to develop more projects. So I was highlighting that knowing a language is a great advantage, any language, and if you can study the development of that language, the history of that language, where it came from, how did it come, what is the link with the other languages, what is the link with our civilization, with our society, with our historical background, it adds to the spark in your mind, and it adds to the methods, the way you can acquire knowledge. So language is a step which helps you in acquiring knowledge, and therefore that has to be paid proper attention to. Don't neglect any language, and Hindi is a language which is spoken all over, not only in our country. I think if you look at the number of countries, if I'm not wrong, there are about 39 countries in the world where this language is being spoken, where there are institutes, where there is a chair on the names of some of our greats, and where this is a language which is encouraged. And only thing is, when we go there and tell them that, well, I don't know Hindi or it is not a subject in our university, they look at it with some bit of a shock, that how is it that we are doing it and you are not doing it. Therefore, it's a great bridge between our civilization and other civilizations, our society and other societies. It's a bridge which will gel very well if we decide to work together. And Hindi department has picked up this particular developmental aspects of this language. I compliment them, and I hope this SPARC project will take them to greater heights, to whatever we are envisaging. I should have started with addressing Professor Eva, who has come all the way from Belgium, but then, when you have too many things in your mind, some things skip over. So I welcome Professor Eva, our Dean, Professor Lords, librarian Dr. Vijay Kumar, the brain behind this, our Professor Jayashankar Babu, who is always very vibrant. He comes and tells me, sir, this is what we intend to do. In fact, this is not yet over, and he's given me the ideas about 2 more seminars. Well, this is the way an academic mind should work. And Professor Padma Priya, you have all joined together. I give my richest compliments. And not only, I'll not end here, I'll say that you continue to do this good work. Don't get dissuaded by the presence of 10 students here. Audience is not much. Professor Eva has come all the way for a shorter duration. She will not be able to convey what she is capable of, or she would have liked to for want of time or for want of attendance, because we have holidays, unfortunately, these days. Don't get dissuaded by this, but even if there are 10 students, 5 students, 3 students, even if one of them can be kindled this kind of a spark in their mind and they pick up the right thread, I think we would have achieved our objective. That is what it is ultimately. Ultimately, the idea behind these is that we should learn about the historical perspectives of this, and this will enable us to gel our language with other languages, and the society will become a much better one, which is full of understanding, full of a spirit of coexisting, which is full of absolute cooperation. If that is there, I think we are on the right path, and nobody can pull us back from whatever we are embarking on achieving. So all the very best, and I wish a grand success to the workshop or seminar of this 5 days, which you are going to have. And if we are starting on a good note, on a New Year note. Very rarely you will find an event is organized on the very first day, which goes to our credit. So all the very best, and I wish all of you a very, very happy New Year, which will enable you to achieve all your goals, because we are celebrating this day after that unfortunate pandemic which depressed the whole mankind. But now we have come out of it. All the very best. God bless you.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. You were the real inspiration behind getting this project, because you have arranged a special meeting and inspired all the professors to apply for this. And Professor Eva helped us with her expertise of Apabhramsa language. So we got this. I'm very much thankful for inspiring us, sir. And your inspiring speech really gives the background of this research also, because this is a link language between Hindi and Sanskrit, Apabhramsa, and historical perspective of this Apabhramsa, linguistic as well as grammatical aspects we are covering in this 5-day workshop. And though our second year students are on vacation, but they have joined online to enjoy the lectures of Professor Eva. So now I request our chief guest, Professor Eva D. Clerk, to address this gathering.
So thank you everyone for being here. And first of all, I want to convey my thanks to my colleague, Professor Babu, without whom I would not be here. Thank you also, dear Vice Chancellor, for making the time. I know you are very busy today to come and meet me. Actually, the connection of Ghent University with Professor Babu goes back quite some time, as he was at one point selected as the ICCR Hindi chair. But unfortunately, for various mostly administrative reasons, somehow the actual visit never materialized. But I was very happy when in 2019 I was contacted by Professor Babu about this, about doing a SPARC project. And for me, the first project that popped up into my mind was on this connection between Apabhramsa and Hindi. And studying this is basically, it's an area that not much work has basically been done on it. Because when scholars, till now, when they want to study Apabhramsa, they do this mostly from the Sanskrit background, right? And from an interest in Jain studies. And they will approach also the language through the Sanskrit, so as a kind of an evolution of Sanskrit. But in fact, the Apabhramsa linguistically is often called a late Middle Indic language, so associating it closely with the Prakrit languages. But in fact, that is quite a random term. It is really very much linguistically on this border between the classical languages of Prakrit especially, and then old forms of Hindi like Braj Bhasha, Awadhi, this Marugurjar, and these kind of languages. When you put, and I will talk about this more later on, when you put the two side by side, you can really see the connection. And sometimes, for some texts, it's even impossible to distinguish, is this text, like old Gujarati, or is it Apabhramsa? So it is actually very close. And I think this is important to study this link because, and I think in India it is the same, it is certainly in Europe and in Western countries, there is a feeling that Hindi is an attractive language and students, they want to study Hindi. But when it comes to Sanskrit, students are a bit afraid. They are very intimidated by the Sanskrit language, and there is this feeling that between Hindi and Sanskrit there is a gap. There is an unbridgeable gap. But in fact, it is not. They are very closely connected. And our students at Ghent University, they study both Sanskrit and Hindi, and they have this mutual. They have the mutual benefit for both, since many of the words in Hindi are also from the Sanskrit language. And of course, then as a kind of an added bonus to deepen their insight into the development of the language, they also will study Prakrit and then in the end Apabhramsa. So I'm very happy to be here. It was, already a great pleasure to do the workshop online during the COVID period. We started I think the application was in 2019, and in 2020 we got the approval, but then I think within weeks or so of getting the news that the project was approved, the pandemic happened. Originally, there was the plan for exchanges and coming here, but it has, taken until January 2023 to actually make it happen. And I'm very happy, due to the extensions, that I made it here, even if it is just for a short stay. So the project, of course, work will continue on. The project, from the administrative side, will be concluded in March, if I'm not mistaken, yes. But I hope to continue our collaboration after that. And that's kind of also a reason why I'm happy to be here. I look forward, we have discussed an MOU between our universities. Ghent University is not as big a university as Pondicherry University. We have 45,000 students. over 11 different faculties. We would love to start up with an MOU which is under negotiations for the humanities departments, but we would be very interested also in looking further at other faculties if there is interest there. So our Ghent University is very much also, we are in Belgium. Belgium is a very small country. It's actually smaller than, you know, your capital, Delhi, is bigger than our country. Ghent University is just 30 kilometers away, and at the same time, Belgium is very well located in Europe. It's very central. The big cities like Paris, Amsterdam, London are within 2 hours of traveling time by road from our university. So I think it could be. We are a ranked university, top 100 research university, and we are very much looking towards India as for partners, because we really believe in this kind of exchange of expertise, exchange of faculty exchange, student exchange. We already have several hundred Indian students who come to our university. Most of them are in engineering. I don't think there is anyone in the humanities, at least not now, but we would welcome that, in fact. And we really want to up this. We really want to increase this. So yeah, I think I will leave it at that, and I will not keep you any longer. So thank you all for being here, and I hope to see some of you when we do the classes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Eva. Actually, you have reminded of the chance I got to be a chair professor of Ghent University in 2012, and unfortunately I couldn't join for 3 years opportunity when I got. Followed by my opportunity, my Didi also got for 1 year to some other foreign university in the same chair, but she could also not join. And those days were, I can't call them black days, but after taking over by Professor Gurmeet Singh ji, we have not applied such a way, otherwise he might have with pleasure sent us to foreign universities to teach. That will be a great pleasure. But that link we have established with you. Because of that only, I could associate with you in this prestigious project. Thank you very much for all your words. And actually, immediately when I proposed that you have sent a proposal of MOU, immediately Professor Gurmeet Singh ji has agreed for that, and paperwork was going on. And now we can initiate it, and as soon as we can materialize it. And as Madam said, not only with Hindi department, even with Sanskrit department, because they are having very sound Sanskrit department there in Ghent, so that Sanskrit and Hindi departments together can have association with Ghent University. We can have exchanges with our students, and in this project also we have opportunity to send 2 of our scholars to there. And because during the pandemic period we have those problems we had, and I couldn't send anybody. Now I am planning within this remaining period to send some scholars to have knowledge development there. And now I request our Professor Clement Sagairada Lourdes, Dean, School of Humanities, to address this gathering. Sir.
Esteemed Vice Chancellor, Professor Batmapriya, Professor Jaishankar Babu, Professor Eva, research scholars, invited guests, and my student friends. I am very happy that at the early part of this year, that is on 2nd January itself, we are gathered here for a very beautiful and rewarding international seminar on historical and linguistic development of Sanskrit. Well, I do not know much about Hindi, but I can tell you something about English, which happens to be my own area. in English, we have three different periods. One we call it as Old English period, the next one is the Middle period, and the last one is the Modern period. And if you read books taking the Old English period into consideration, we always used to say that Chaucer happens to be the father of English. You may not be able to understand what it is, even though it is written in English. And we have a lot of translation. Translation means not in other languages, but into modern English. The Old English getting rendered into modern English, then only you will be able to understand what it is. Otherwise, it would be very difficult for you to understand if it is read in the way Chaucer wrote it, because lot of changes came through. And studying that change that has happened frequently in literature is something which would be very stimulating for any researcher. And in fact, English got modernized during the time of Shakespeare. And we say that Shakespeare actually wrote modern English. But even in Shakespeare, you find, especially in tragedies, very obscure passages. Passages you can't easily understand, passages where interpretations are not possible. For example, I can give you one important quote, and I will tell you why it has become obscure, why it has become something that we can't understand. Those the not this practicing York was not incensed by his subtle mother to taunt and scorn you thus opprobriously. Several of these words have now gone out of use, and if you use these words, probably you will be laughed at. And if you try to understand the reason for it, that is what you are going to do in this particular conference, the historical and linguistic development of Hindi, is it not? Therefore, historically speaking, you find that the ambiguity appears because not of Shakespeare, but because of actors. You may ask me, sir, how actors are responsible for it? Yes, just because they are illiterates and could not pronounce the words properly. How many actors would pronounce the words that I just now, told you? Opprobriously and etc. And when they struggle with those words and expressions, they will ask the director to go for a new word, which would be much easier for them to pronounce. Immediately, the director will remove the difficult word and replace a new word with it. That is why the ambiguity comes. And we will not be able to understand this unless we go for this historical criticism, trying to understand how the language matters through the ages. And when Dr. Johnson, he was the first lexicographer who published our English dictionary. And when Dr. Johnson published the English dictionary, there were hardly 20,000 words. That's all. But now, for one particular letter A, we have 20 volumes. And our librarian is here, and he knows everything about it, and I need not elaborate it. Go to the library, you yourself can see how the dictionaries are arranged. There is a saying that all the philosophers say, believe in yourself, but only the librarian would say, believe in yourself. Because that shelf would give you more knowledge, and knowledge is power. Okay. And now we have words. Every day, one word or two words are getting added up to our dictionary. And this is the age of cell phone. And there is one particular word that I have come across. This is called nomophobia. Nomophobia means the fear that you have when you lose your cell phone. Just imagine that you lose your cell phone. What will happen to you thereafter? You can't even imagine, because everything is stored up there. So this is going to be a miserable loss. And therefore, we have to make a coinage of it. And the people have coined an appropriate word for it. And in fact, when you take a photograph through your cell, suddenly one person who is not at all involved in that particular scene will be also seen. You may wonder, how this person is also included in this photograph. He is an odd man out. But you must not have realized it when you are taking the photograph, when you are taking the picture. Suddenly you see another odd man. Only two persons are there, but how suddenly that odd man has come into existence. That odd man is called, we are now calling him as a photo bomber. There is no word for that earlier, but now we have a word. Photo bomber. Suddenly one person is seen, or suddenly one thing is seen which should not be there. So every time that, every day that one word is getting incorporated into our dictionary, and that is something very, very important. And I think that this is more important in the case of English idioms, because idioms are expressions and phrases that are peculiar to a particular language. And when some people die, we simply say that he is dead. But if you are a student of literature, you would say he has kicked the bucket. And this is thoroughly confusing for some people. They may be using it. And I asked a student who has been using this expressions very conveniently, where did you come across this? How come that you are using this idiom? No sir, I learned it through some means. Okay, what is the meaning of it? This is where I am coming, that this particular seminar is going to give you in Hindi, that is a different matter, but in English, if you go to that historical context, you will understand the meaning of it, because there is a meaning. He has kicked the bucket. What is the connection between kicking the bucket and dying? In the olden times, especially in the 18th century, the sailors, usually it is the period of travel. People travel to very many countries, and most of them are explorers, adventurers. And while traveling, people can easily become seasick. And if they become seasick for a longer duration, then they will commit suicide. And when they commit suicide, what they will do when they are in a ship? The ship will be full of buckets for storing water. And they will take one bucket, stand over it, and there is a mast. They will hang themselves and kick the bucket. That is how the expression originated. Kicking the bucket now means the person is dead. You need not think about suicide attempt or any other thing, that has gone. But now, when you read it historically, you will understand that this is how things have come to existence. Therefore, historical and linguistic development of Hindi, this is the one that is very, very important, and I congratulate Professor Padma Priya and Dr. Jayasankar Babu for taking this initiative and coming out with a very good seminar which is going to be highly rewarding. And I must place on record to our Vice Chancellor, because for any Vice Chancellor for that matter, this today is going to be a very tiring period. Because people will be queuing up. When he goes there, I do not know how he is going to find his way out, because he has to inch along and reach his chamber, because people will be queuing up. Leaving all those things aside, when he is here with us, that speaks volumes about his interest in our department, in the department. So for him, the academic matters are more important than ordinary greetings, as he himself has said, same to you, which he is going to repeat, how many times, I can't even imagine. But in spite of that, if he is here, then you can understand his greatness. That's all. And I don't want to go deep into it. And I am very thankful to you for inviting me. And I hope that this is going to be a very rewarding and stimulating seminar that would be of great interest to one and all. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir. You have linked it with the relevance of English and development of its diction. You have linked our topic with that. And the relevance of Apabhramsa is also like that. And Professor Eva, when she was holding lecture sessions during COVID period, online lecture sessions, beside her lectures, she used to hold some reading sessions also. So in those sessions, she used to give deep insight of each word to our students. So etymologically, how that word was developed. When yesterday, for a brief few seconds, she spent at my home while coming from on the ECR. So I was holding my pet. She asked her name, my cat's name, and she started inquiring about how that name derived. So that is etymological source of any language, because this Apabhramsa was pan-Indian language during 3rd century to 15th century. And the important aspect which Hindi students should know, because we dwell upon much on Shuklaji, Ramchandra Shukla's history of Hindi literature, where you can't find the real historical research output which came out later, that the Swayambhu was in Karnataka. He wrote his epics from there itself. So history of Hindi literature starts from South India. The reality comes from South India only. The research only can speak about this. So all the research relevance lies there. And as Professor Clement sir said, the diction of English, which was having only 20,000 words, for A itself, voluminous dictionaries are there now. So that way, actually, Hindi also is getting, because of the Sanskrit origin as well as the Apabhramsa, it was the backbone of Hindi. So with Apabhramsa, Professor Eva now she is enlightening us to how to develop Hindi also, and dwelling upon its historical background. So now I request our university librarian, Dr. M. Vijay Kumar, to deliver his felicitations. Actually, this was a vacation time. I feared we are residing in a place, our department is like in Andaman of Pondicherry University, 3 kilometers away. If outsiders comes, it is very difficult them to reach the Silver Jubilee. I thought and requested, immediately he agreed and he arranged all these arrangements. I thought arranging in this venue was easier than arranging in our venue. So he took care of all these things. Now I request, actually I have requested him, because we are covering the digitization aspects of the manuscripts as well as all the knowledge sources of Apabhramsa. So I requested him to cover that aspect, because he is the specialist of digitization. So I asked him to at least take 1 hour class in our these 5 days workshop. So I request him to address this gathering, please.
Good morning and good afternoon to all. Respected Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir. Sir, your presence made the Pondicherry University campus into electrified. It has electrified in such a way for the several developments, the chain of recruitments, chain of the promotions, academic infrastructure and all. Oh, thank you, sir. My dear friend, the Professor Clement Sagara is there. He is well known in India for his sketches along with his academic and research. My friend, the Professor Jaishankar Babu, who helped us to implement the Rajabhasha in Ananda Rangapalli Library. And also thanks to Professor the Padma Priyam, who invited me to all for this function. Actually, when I was working in Central University of Rajasthan, I came across with the Apabhramsa literature. This Apabhramsa, the language is used in early rise of the Indian languages, the North Indian languages from the 5th or the 6th century onwards. The literature of especially the literature of Swayambhu, the literature of the Pushpadant and also Hemachandra. These are very valuable. There is a need to digitize. There is a need to preserve this literature through digitization. Even if under the direction of our Honorable Vice Chancellor, the Pondicherry University can act as an ambassador to preserve this literature for the future research, for the research work. And Of course, due to the time scarcity and all, I don't want to delay, the program. I wish this international program will be successful in bringing the proposal, to boom the Apabhramsa language and the literature. Thank you, and all.
Now I request Dr. S. Padma Priya, Head of the Department of Hindi, to propose formal vote of thanks.
धन्यवाद Dr. Jaishankar Babuji. I stand here to extend my heartfelt thanks to our esteemed Vice Chancellor Gurmeet Singh Ji, our Dean, School of Humanities, Professor Clement, and our esteemed guest of honor today, Professor Eva, and our university librarian, Dr. Vijay Kumar Ji, for extending their support for the success of today's event. I thank all the colleagues who have joined us, Professor Behra, Professor Krishnan, Professor Arvind Ji, and all the library staff who's here in support of us for this event. All our research scholars who have worked very hard to make this event a successful new year starting. Thank you so much, Aman, Ramlakhan, Rajiv, Shiraj, Ashish, and all our first year students. This is your first occasion, and I hope you enjoyed it and you can understand the academic standards of our university. I thank all the administrative staff, the electrical staff, the mass media. Thanks a lot again. Namaste, Vanakkam, Bujo, greetings, Valtakal, Vanakkam. Dhanyavad.